Welcome to Into the Night. I'm Nari, your guide on today's excursion down a twisted path. Be careful not to get lost. Be it dark or light, it's easy to lose your way. Are you ready? Then let's begin. A few ticks of the clock. In a galaxy far, far away. Darcy Chilton laughed at the quote he had taped to the top of his dashboard. It came from a movie he'd seen once as a small boy. The film was old even when his father was a child, but modern technology made it possible to not only preserve, but enhance the quality of obsolete media. How old was he when he saw it? 7 or 8 at most. His favorite character was the big hairy beast. He couldn't help but hum the theme song as he adjusted his seat and checked his instruments. It wasn't accidental that Darcy recalled that movie. The beeping lights and warm buzz of the electronics covering his ship's dash reminded him what his mission was. He and several of his colleagues were on the most vital assignment, and it came at a critical time for mankind. Their commanders, also familiar with the classic cinematic story, dubbed this mission the Death Star. Not long ago, the first inkling of trouble arrived. It seemed innocent enough. A faint signal from a distant solar system, nothing more than a few blips on a frequency never utilized on Earth, was detected. Scientists from around the world swarmed old New Mexico, the name the state of Libertad used to be known as. A few generations had passed since the United States of his grandfather's youth existed. The search for extraterrestrial life had continued in that area, despite changes in political boundaries, and antennas outside Old Socorro still scanned the skies for proof that life outside our solar system existed. Well, it did. Less than 3 months after the first blips were heard, contact was made. A small, seemingly harmless, unmanned ship arrived. On board were gifts for any civilization that it came upon. New types of electronics just waiting for the eager hands of engineers to tinker with. Mysterious plaques engraved with writing that captivated linguists, and a cryptic music that played constantly from the craft, all mesmerized our planet. Strangely, some of the engraved figures resembled ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, further exciting the masses. Could they be our link to the ancient world? Then, hell broke loose. A month after the unmanned ship arrived, a swarm of battlecraft appeared, and these were definitely manned, if you could call the beings men. Whatever they were, it didn't take long to realize their intentions weren't friendly. All of the hoopla about connecting with benevolent beings from another planet flew out the window. These creatures were not looking for peaceful cohabitation. Anyone who doubted as much were convinced when the multitudes of aggressive crafts began circling Earth. Thankfully, our governments had invested in a space shield, what the renowned historical leader Ronald Reagan called Star Wars technology. Our shield and the space forces managed to fight off the raiders. Peace wouldn't last long, however, as our satellites detected a large, menacing mothership heading our direction. Its dimensions were more massive than our moon, and potentially millions of invaders were at our celestial doorstep. Far too late, scientists realized those gifts on the expeditionary craft were used as tracking beacons. Once the gadgets were turned on, which the scientists had prematurely prided themselves over, the home planet forces knew exactly where to set their sights. Sometimes we humans forgot the lessons of the Trojan horse. Now, our last chance at survival was in the hands of the elite space squadrons, and this explained the current challenge faced by our hopeful hero, Captain Darcy Chilton. He checked his coordinates, relayed flight information to his squad commander, and drew a bead on the Death Star defenders who streamed from the mothership to attack the incoming rapid force destroyers. Firefights, desperate maneuvers, and breakneck efforts went on for what seemed like hours, but it amounted to less than 45 minutes in real time. At those speeds, seconds dragged, and fear heightened the awareness of every detail experienced by Captain Chilton and his comrades. One by one, Earth's forces were eliminated until only a handful of fighters remained. Darcy approached the cavernous hull of the Death Star, relying upon instinct and navigational equipment, just as the fictional hero in that long-ago movie had. As the last visible friendly ship blew up in his rearview mirror, Darcy became more determined to find the weak spot of the enemy. Then he recognized his mark. An exhaust duct, larger than 10 of Darcy's ships, loomed in front of him. Enemy fighters shot near misses, and he knew he couldn't outrun them for long. With no time left, he had to make a valiant move. Darcy programmed his craft to glide into the entrance, and then self-destruct. As we watch the monitors at Mission Control, the 30-second delay leaves us wondering if his efforts were enough. In a few ticks of the clock, we will know if we live or if we die. Thank you for joining me for Into the Night, an anthology series written by Caroline Giammanco, narrated and produced by Nari, with music created by Alex Sexton. Theme music by Nico Rodriguez. Our links are in the show notes. Into the Night is available on your favorite podcast directory, so be sure to subscribe and follow so you never miss an episode. We would really appreciate a 5-star review, as it helps new excursionists to find and join us. Feel free to share with someone you want to bring along on our next excursion. I'd love to hear from you on Twitter at IntoTheNightPod or by email at itnanthology@gmail.com. I'll see you next time, and remember, whether in the shadows or in the daylight, all twisted paths lead you into the night.